Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. This is a rather unbelievable episode because, according to new reporting from Maggie Haberman, who's a Washington correspondent from the New York Times and an analyst for CNN, you'll see a tweet on your screen from her. She writes, former President Trump has been telling a number of people that he's in contact with that he expects to be reinstated by August. Yes, this is what he's expecting, and people in his inner circle believe it, and they are reinforcing that notion. Maggie Haberman points out that no, this is not how it works, but she's simply sharing the information. In fact, let's take a look at a tweet from Donnie O'Sullivan, who's a CNN correspondent. And there have been talks of a coup like we see in other countries in the United States. And this is very popular among some supporters of former President Trump and QAnon believers. And this is a belief that is very rampant amongst some supporters of former President Trump. Let's take a look at this incredible video clip so you can see exactly what Maggie is referring to. Let's watch.
Biden is he's like a puppet president. The military is in charge. It's going to be like Myanmar. What's happening in Myanmar? The military is doing their own investigation, and at the right time, they're going to be restoring the republic with Trump as president.
What's going on in Myanmar right now? The government took over, and they're redoing the election, correct? So, that could possibly happen here, possibly.
Would you like to see it happen?
Absolutely.
I would like to see it happen.
Really?
Yes.
You know why? Because the election was stolen from us.
Donnie joins us now. So I understand Michael Flynn appears to have made additional comments about this controversy. What's he now saying?
That's right, Anderson. He is today saying that his words have been twisted somehow, that he is not actually calling for a coup. But look, I mean, you heard the comments there in that piece, and essentially this QAnon conference was devoted to overturning the results of the election. You heard Sidney Powell there talking about a potentially new inauguration day. And, you know, this talk of a coup is something that has been circulating for months now in the QAnon conspiracy theory world that both Powell and Flynn live in. And, you know, I spend a lot of time reading a lot of these pro-Trump forums, these QAnon forums online, and speaking to Trump supporters. And I will say of all the conspiracy theories we hear and all the different ideas, this talk from Americans about a coup, cheering on a coup and hoping for a coup in the United States is one of the most chilling things that I hear on the road.
Yeah.
Anderson?
Donnie O'Sullivan, I appreciate it.
And if you thought that was unbelievable, wait till you get a sense of the backlash that she experienced since she put out that news. First, we'll show you a couple more tweets from Maggie. She writes, "This is not happening in a vacuum. It is happening as he faced the possibility of an indictment from the Manhattan District Attorney. But former President Trump, according to Maggie Haberman, is not putting out statements about the audits in states just for the sake of it. He has been laser focused on them because he's trying to present it as if there is a conspiracy theory against him as opposed to a legitimate investigation into his financial dealings, into all the shenanigans that he has done financially, and all the extensive reporting that has proved that former President Trump has done everything in his power to avoid paying taxes." Maggie Haberman writes, he's been laser focused on the audits, according to several people who have spoken with him. This is pretty unbelievable. In fact, like I mentioned earlier, there has been some substantial backlash to Maggie Haberman. Here's a tweet on your screen from Charles C.W. Cook, who's the president of the Filibuster Appreciation Society. And he writes, Maggie Haberman is right. Donald Trump really does believe that he's going to be reinstated as president alongside former Senators Perdue and McSally. This isn't fake news or the product of a garbled telegram. I can attest to it myself. In fact, he wrote an article in the National Review. We'll show you the article on your screen right now. Maggie Haberman is right. And Donald Trump does indeed believe that he's actually going to be reinstated. Again, pretty astonishing reporting here. And folks, it's very easy to dismiss this as old news or irrelevant or fake news. We're not really talking about a fringe figure within the Republican Party. That is what Charles writes. And I'm going to quote him from his article. We are not talking here about a fringe figure within the Republican tent, but about a man who hopes to make support for his outlandish claims a litmus test of sorts as he decides whom to endorse for state and federal contests in 2022 and 2024. In other words, whoever believes the nonsense that's coming out of former President Trump's campaign is likely to get his support for 2022 and 2024. Charles also writes this. Conservatives understand why it mattered that the press lost its collective mind over Russia after Trump's fair and square victory in 2016. They understand why it mattered that Hillary Clinton publicly described Trump as an illegitimate president who had stolen the election. And they understand why it mattered that Jimmy Carter insisted that Trump had lost the election and had been put into office because the Russians interfered. They should understand why this matters too. Charles also writes, the scale of Trump's delusion is quite startling. Again, I'm quoting from the article, folks. So if you need a link to the article, you'll get it in the description section below. But I'm quoting directly from the article, and I encourage you to check out the article. The scale of Trump's delusion is quite startling. This is not merely an eccentric interpretation of the facts or an interesting foible, nor is it an irrelevant example of anguished post-presidency chatter. It is a rejection of reality, a rejection of law, and ultimately a rejection of the entire system of American government. There is no reinstatement clause within the United States Constitution. There is nothing even approximating a reinstatement clause within the United States Constitution. The election has been certified. Joe Biden is the president, and until 2024, that is all there is to it. Again, folks, this is a very horrific reality that we all need to be aware of. An alternate reality, an alternate set of facts that many supporters of former President Trump are believing. Again, former President Trump believes he will be reinstated by August, and some of his supporters actually believe this madness. Charles ends the article by writing this. There is nothing to be gained for conservatism by pretending otherwise. To acknowledge that Trump is living in a fantasy world does not wipe out his achievements or render anything else he has said incorrect. It does not endorse Joe Biden or hand the Republican Party over to other people. It merely demands that Donald Trump be treated like any other person, subject to gravity, open to rebuttal, and liable to be laughed at when he becomes so unmoored from the real world that it is hard to know where to begin in attempting to explain him.
I want to thank everybody for the tremendous support you've shown. We're going to take back the Senate, take back the House, we're going to take back the White House, and sooner than you think. It's going to be really something special. But the love and the affection and the respect that you've given all of us, it's really important. The Republican Party is stronger than it's ever been, and it's going to be a lot stronger than it is right now. We're going to turn it around. We're going to turn it around fast. Thank you all very much. That support has been so incredible. Thank you.
Let me know what you think in the comment section below of this incredible news that former President Trump actually believes that he will be reinstated by August, along with a couple of other Republican senators who are no longer in the United States Senate. Please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. I wish I could call this an episode of the DC Comedy Hour. But folks, this is much more dangerous, much more insidious than the DC Comedy Hour, because this is nothing for us to laugh at. In fact, this is extremely serious, and this is extremely startling and extremely disturbing. And the fact that Maggie Haberman got a substantial amount of backlash for what is accurate reporting and what is reporting that is backed up by other people is something that should be even more concerning, because at the end of the day, a lot of us simply want to listen to the news that reinforces our own beliefs, and we are not open to accepting the sad reality, the harsh reality that the election is over and that many people continue to be misled. If you go back to comments and claims from former Trump attorney Sidney Powell, who had all her shenanigans about the election situation, and now she essentially backpedaled on everything because of all the lawsuits she's facing. This is telling us that many factions of the Trump administration are trying to continue to mislead the American people, and in many ways they are actually achieving it based on the news clip that you saw earlier in this episode of Ignition Time. Please click the like button, please subscribe, please enable notifications. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.